Welcome back to the Renegade Report. I'm Francis Mayer, Sports Information Director for the greatest community college athletic department in the known universe and even in the unknown universe. We know what we don't know, or whatever Donald Rumsfeld said. Anyway, last night, the Lady Renegades basketball team had a date with destiny, and they've had a lot of those lately. They've driven farther into the playoffs than any team in at least 25 years, and if you ask me, ever, because we had our first uncontested Western State Conference South title this year. They shared one once before, but this year they absolutely took it running away, and the season had a small dip in the middle, but they reorganized and came back, and last week, if you weren't a basketball fan and you watched this team's first playoff game, you would become a basketball fan. They found another gear for the playoffs, and they made a statement, in my opinion, that said, we're here and we're going to be here for a while. Unfortunately, Coach Morales, Rosebrook, Hunt, it wasn't to be.
No.
And there's no other way to shake it, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing, and it hurts. And, Gabby, I talked to you not long after the game, and you just told me straight up. What did you tell me?
Well, I don't really remember, but
well, you said I hate losing.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of that, and it really did suck just to as the time was winding down and just seeing it slip farther and farther away because everybody had such a high goal of getting to state.
Well, and I don't think that was unreasonable. That
no,
wasn't
it wasn't at all. Because when the team plays together and when everybody's on, nobody can stop us. But unfortunately, last night, we weren't on. We couldn't buy a bucket. We couldn't play defense. So it's just the way it ended. And it was a sad way to end.
Well, and I am not a reasonable sports fan. And when people tell me, well, you got to look at it logically. No, I don't. No, I don't have to look at it logically. It's an emotional thing. And, oh, gosh, I feel like, and my wrestling coach used to tell me, Frank, if you feel like you're getting cheated by the refs, quit leaving the match up to them. And his point was score enough, or pin somebody so that the ref doesn't decide the match for you. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to feel like in the first half of yesterday's game. I mean, I felt like if you coughed or you looked at a player wrong, they were going to blow the whistle and charge you with a foul in the first half.
Yeah, well, I mean, the refs always stink, honestly. There's those few games where you get an actually good call for the whole game, but I mean, I don't even know.
No, that is fair to say, Rosebrook, and it was painful because I know I don't get to see you play again at this level.
Yeah.
And that sucks because you were so much fun to watch. And I felt like in the first half of the season, people pushed our team around.
Yeah.
They beat up on us. I mean, I saw you get many an elbow put in the small of your back.
Yeah. I was getting pushed a lot yesterday, too, and they finally called it in the second half.
Yeah, but by then, I mean,
it was 2.
Yeah. Because the fouls in the first half were 9-2.
Yeah.
And then the second half, it was more even. They had more fouls than us finally, but...
Barely.
I hate when they try to make up the calls. I feel like that's what was happening.
Well, in 2 weeks in a row now, it's felt like that's happened, where we've gotten makeup calls from the refs, and it's gone against us. It's gone in our favor. And in the end, you just want to tell them, call the game straight. Right now, Chris, if we have the video ready, let's take a look at the highlights. Feel free to chime in at any time, ladies. There is Coach Dahl, Coach of the Year, and then there's that gal, Coach of the Lasers. Here we got their passing on. And that gal, I would have liked to have broken her legs. She was sinking shots all night long, and there's Clacy Tarver pulling up. It's off the rim. She got her own rebound, and the putback is good.
Yes.
Nice play there. There's Melissa Duggan. She's watching in from the studio. Alex Green from the corner.
I think
it's
that
good.
was my assist, too. Holla.
And
it's like we started making big shots like that towards the end of the game.
The second half, we definitely came out a lot stronger and more energy. I think because we were down, and I was definitely just let's just take it at them and get back.
And there's Rosebrook. Hunt.
Bun was popping.
It was. There's Clacy Tarver on there. Or excuse me, Nakia Page, the MVP on the turnaround there.
We definitely look like twins today. Yesterday.
My girl. She just.
Man, I feel like even when you're going up playing straight defense, they still made everything.
No, they did. I mean, they had a lot of shots falling, and boy, tough to see Coach Dahl in the second half of that basketball game. I mean, she's a very vocal presence, and she was quiet. And it was tough for me because, I mean, Rosebrook, let me ask you this question. 6 minutes left on the clock. We're down by 20 points. Now, The athlete, to me, there's always that sense of denial, right? Like, we can pull this out.
Always.
There's a way to make this work. When did the illusion start to slip for you?
I think when we were probably about the 2 to 3 minute mark and we were still down by 17, 20. I mean, we kept like getting there, but then they were calling foul after foul at the end. And I was like, I didn't want to give up on myself, but it was just like, I know I still had to play hard, but it was just like, I knew once we kept fouling, I was like, okay, like we just got to at least play our hardest for the rest of the game. Like I knew, not that I want to say I knew we were going to lose, but it's just like, how are we going to come back from a 20-point deficit with 3 minutes left and we're fouling every single time they come down?
No, and I hate to be such a fan here, but I felt like we had a lot of people come up for the basketball game to Irvine, and that's no short drive. Okay,
Yeah.
We had a Rooter bus, we had cheerleaders. We had
My grandma came.
Yeah, Grandmama was there.
Yeah.
And it felt like you guys were playing for us at the end because obviously the score was out of reach. And every time I saw you come down the court, I was like, last time I'm going to see Rosebrook in a Renegade uniform. And you guys didn't give up. You didn't mail it in. You didn't start playing ugly. And for that, I thank you. I mean, that was typical of the performance that you guys have shown all season long, which is class, and not giving up. Did you know that Irvine's athletic director offered extra credit? Just a bunch of spiffs to students who would show up and support their basketball team. They had like 3 students show up.
I know, I saw that. I was like, dang, we had. I remember when I first got there, I was looking at their bleachers. I was like, oh, that's it? That's all they expect to come?
Well, when you name your team the Lasers, you have to expect some disappointment from the fans who don't want to be associated. Go Lasers! That must have sounded so futuristic when someone thought that up. Let's go on the Lasers.
I really wonder how people come up with their
Of all
like
things,
Irvine
a laser,
Valley,
though.
like at least Renegades, like
At least
I don't
that's an
know.
actual mascot.
Yeah,
It's a thing.
a laser, like that's very
Just a-
intimidating. Like
Yes.
A red beam.
Yeah, that's all it was. If I know Nakia Page was the MVP, but when you right now, and I know it's still early, emotions are still raw. I'll start with you, Gabby, and Rosebrook. Start thinking of your answer. What is there a signature moment of this season? Is there like a takeaway for you, like when you think back to this team that you'll be like, oh yeah, they were.
Honestly, it was just an awesome group of girls to work with. Each and every one of them.
Here.
Like, there wasn't like one significant moment because every single day I saw someone get better.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was always fun to watch for me. So when I think back of that, I just think of like each girl came every day to work and to get better. And as a coach now, like that's something that's exciting to see. And as a player, I don't think they really realize it every single day, but coaches, you're watching from a different aspect. So that's my takeaway moment, just actually seeing the girls get better and take away what we're trying to teach them.
Right, and this may be, for the folks who are a little bit older watching, this might make sense to them, but this team kind of reminded me a little bit of like a non-rule-breaking version of the UNLV Runnin' Rebels from the 90s, where they just had depth. And like, the seventh player, the second or third player off the bench was a star for any other team. And I felt like that was us. And we had surprises down the stretch. We had these revelations. Kyla Dean was not the same player in the second half of the season that she was in the first half.
Not at all.
Same for Marissa Jones.
Yes.
Right? And that was tremendously fun to watch. And you guys did kind of go through a valley, and there's no way to go back and change things. And the 6th seed I thought was fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But how you guys responded to that bit of adversity and those rough times was interesting to me. You won 8 games in a row before you ran into Irvine.
Yeah.
Rosebrook, before the game, did you feel like you guys were in the right frame of mind to beat Irvine Valley?
I feel like
Nothing left to lose now, kid.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was ready. I can't speak for everybody. I know like on the way up we kind of had like a little bit of not tension, but it was just some little childish things that we needed to like to get over, and that could have affected us like a little bit, like our mindset. But it's like game time. Like we need to be able to have the mentality to put that away, like and focus on the game. I don't know. I know we all wanted it, and like I feel when we first came out, we kind of came out really flat. So what happened before could have affected us, but I don't know. We just have to like not let things like that get to us. And I know we really wanted to win. Like once I got there, I was like, okay. And especially since we've been like so like not underranked, but like, what is the word I want?
Where's the
Looked
respect?
over.
Yeah,
Lack
looked
of
over, like,
respect.
yeah. And
Jeez,
when we were
what a-
looking at the seedings, like the last seeding before the, or not the seeding, the rankings before the playoff seedings, we were like 15 or something, and we weren't even ranked before that. And teams that we have beat were ranked like 6, like way higher than us. And then, yeah, so it's just kind of we weren't shown any respect. And I know that was like one of the drives for us as players. Like we wanted to show people that they need to respect us. Like,
Well, and if you did, there were some humbled coaches down the stretch in the
Yeah.
second half of conference who were like, well, those Renegades, they play basketball, and we'll
Yeah.
respect them. Chris, do we have the post game interviews with Coach Dahl? Okay, all right. She was, I will say this, usually very stoic, and she was emotional after that game. From a coach's perspective, regret? Do you feel like you prepared the team adequately to face Irvine Valley?
I think we did, but I think most of her emotions came from the fact that she's not going to be able to coach this same exact group of girls again. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And she had said earlier that she couldn't talk about this team without getting emotional. So I think that's what most of her emotions came from. But I also think she wanted to go to state. We all wanted to go to state. And I think the fact that we lost last night, it kind of just, it's like the dream of the team was just crushed.
Yeah.
So soon. You know what I mean?
Well, I do know that, and it's so easy to get ahead of ourselves, and I travel with the athletic director, Sandy Taylor, and we were already making plans. Like, we were like, well, do you mind driving again? Yeah, hey, I think there's a good barbecue place in East LA. We had these ideas,
Yeah.
and I definitely understand where you're coming from. I don't know what it's like to be on the court. And the reason I asked you that question, and maybe it was Coach Dahl falling on the sword, but she said that maybe she had not prepared the team adequately, that they had surprised you with a look or something, and it's like you can't hold anybody who says something post game to their word because
Yeah.
you're drunk on emotion, right?
I think,
yeah,
but I mean, at this point, like all you can do practice-wise, like you're not going to put your team through a
Strenuous
grueling
work,
practice.
yeah.
You're not going to make them run. So the first day we focused on shooting. It was like a fun, laid-back practice because everybody's tired. We have a lot of people playing through injuries. So it was kind of a laid-back practice. And then Tuesday, we went over like what Irvine Valley would do. Like we went over their plays. We reviewed our press so we could get some stops because that's been a strength for us. But I think we just didn't execute properly on the press or even on defense, even after we went through their plays. So,
Right. Well, and then we are running long here, but I too don't want my experience with this team to end. What was halftime like, the halftime conference?
I was a little shocked. I was expecting her to yell more than she did.
yeah, she kind
came
of
in big-
calmed everybody down because we've never really been down like that.
No.
At a half.
I think the
So-
most we've been down at a half was 4.
Yeah, so we were down 9 at half, and so I think she came in we wanted to calm everybody down, like, look, it's okay, like, we're going to be fine. And I thought we were going to be fine because we were down by 15, and we held them from scoring. Like, we were down 30 to 15 with, like, still quite a few minutes left, and they only scored 2 points, and we came within 9. Yeah, it was like 32-23 or something. So we like took care of business defensively right there by limiting them to only 1 basket.
Right.
So I thought we would be fine. I thought, okay, well, we can carry this momentum over into the next half. And we started with that momentum. We started with a very good momentum in the second half. We just couldn't keep up with that momentum.
Right. I feel like every single girl on that team, every single girl who put on a Renegade uniform this season has the potential to go on to the next level. But, Rose, you're the only one I have here. Are any schools you're kicking the tires on? Anybody called? Or what?
Well, Coach has told us, like, she has schools calling, but, she doesn't really, like, tell us exactly what schools we have.
Because she wants you focused on the game.
Yeah, so I think that's a good thing because you don't want to be too wrapped up about the future. Like, we're worried about the present. But she has talked to us about, like, getting our bios and stuff done and sending our stuff out, and she's going to start working with us on that. So,
Rose, will you come back and talk to us about that when you make your decision?
Yeah, I'll definitely will.
Well, I will have you. And I want to thank you, too. If basketball isn't in your future, photography could be. You took a lot of wonderful pictures for me this season, and I appreciated that. I appreciated your team so much. Please pass that on to the ladies. And, won't quickly forget this team.
Yeah.
Thank you for all of your efforts very much.
Yes, thank you.
When we come back, we're going to talk to the guy who keeps the guy who teaches me how to speak English. Clearly, he needs to be fired. Stephen Lynch, he's the Bakersfield College statistician. Plus, we're going to have Jeff Scoop Evans. I like to call him Jevons because that's his email address. They're both going to be on the Renegade Report next. We'll be right back.